Good morning, everyone. We are going to be taking a look at fractions today, and we're going to be doing something a little different with the fractions. We are going to be turning those fractions into number bonds. And so I'm going to review number bonds with you a little bit before we get started. So I'm going to set this aside for a minute, and we're going to take a look at the number 5. If we remember number 5, if we do a number bond, it looks like this. Here's 5. And we're going to break 5 up. So if I look at 5, I could say, how can I make 5? Well, I could do 2, and I could do 3, and I know this is my number bond. 5 can be made by saying 2 and 3. That's one way to make 5. Another way I can make 5, let's see, I could change these numbers, and I could put this, I could say 1 and 4, that would work. So 1 and 4 also makes 5. So if you remember, that's what number bonds are. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to use fractions to make number bonds, and it's actually kind of fun. I really like it. I think it'll be fun for you too once you get the hang of it. Okay, what I need here is a tissue to wipe this down. I was not prepared. Okay, so I'm going to put this fraction back up here. And if we look at it, this fraction has 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, okay? And so I would say the unit fraction for this is 1/4, right? Because each piece is 1/4. This is 1/4, this is 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. All of those pieces together make up the whole thing, okay? So what we're going to do today is I'm going to take a look at a fraction, and we're going to write a number bond for it. So let's take a look at this one. I'll move this off of here, and it's the same thing. It's 1/4, okay? So if I wanted to break this apart into a number bond, I would say I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So my total is 4. The whole thing has 4 equal parts, right? That 1/4. So if I wanted to split this into a number bond, okay, if I took one of these pieces, that one of those pieces is just 1/4. And maybe I will switch this out again so you can understand what I'm saying. Okay? If I were to take one of these pieces, just this one, it's 1/4. And then what's left over? We have 1, 2, 3. We have 3/4 over here. So there's my number bond. I could say these 3 pieces, 1, 2, 3, plus this 1/4 makes the whole thing. Okay, that's a number bond for that one. That's how we can do that. So we could change it. I could say, what if I use 2 pieces, half of it, 2/4, and over here I could say this one is 2/4. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing. I'm going to move that up so you can see it. There we go. So my screen's not that big. So you can see 2/4 and 2/4 is the whole thing. So I've got my unit fraction is 1/4. One piece of that would be 2/4 and 2/4. So what we're going to be looking at today are some shapes, and you're going to break those shapes into number bonds. So I'm going to draw a picture of what it is that you're going to see. So for example, your shape could be anything. Remember when we did a tape diagram? And we could say this tape diagram is, okay, same thing. And part of it's shaded in. This part shaded, and this part shaded, and this part shaded. So, there we go. Okay, hard to see, but I colored those in. It was 4 pieces. So let's take a look at this. And we're going to draw a number bond for this shape. So this one is 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, right? Okay, so this is divided up into fourths as well. So it's kind of the same thing we did. If we draw a number bond, we would say the whole thing is 1 whole. The whole thing is 1, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to break that, and we're going to show the fraction. How many parts are shaded in? 1, 2, 3. 3/4 are shaded. So I'm going to write 3/4. Okay. And then how many parts are not shaded? 1/4. Okay, so 1/4 is not shaded in. And again, I will move that so you can see it. So do you see that our number bond matches this fraction? We had 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. 4 pieces made the whole thing, so we're just putting 1. This 1 stands for one whole thing. The whole shape is 1. And the part that's shaded in is 3 out of those 4 pieces, 3/4. And the part that's not shaded in is 1/4. Okay, so that might not be making too much sense yet, but we're going to take a look at the sheet that you're going to do today as we continue on learning about fractions. So let's take a look at our sheet. Oops, wrong side. Whoops, wrong one. We will get the hang of this soon enough. Okay, so we're going to start here. And if we take a look, it says, show a number bond representing what is shaded and unshaded in each of the figures. Draw a different visual model that would be represented by the same number bond. Okay, that sounds really complicated, but it's not. I'm going to give you an example. First, I'm going to look at this shape. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 1/8. The unit fraction is 1/8. I'm just going to write that in each of them. We've done this before. So if you do this, it will make it much easier for you to remember. Okay, this is 1/8. The whole thing has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. That's why it's 1/8. So that's why they put the whole thing. Here's the number bond. The whole thing stands for that. So look, what part is shaded in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces are shaded in. So that means 5/8 are colored in. And how many are not colored in? 1, 2, 3. So 3/8 are not colored in. And then what they want you to do is they want you to draw a different fraction with the same thing. So they just drew a circle and they divided it into 8 equal parts. And they colored in, draw a different visual model that would represent, so what they did was they colored in 3/8 instead. They drew it differently. Okay, let's see if we can do number 1 together. Okay, let's start here first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 pieces, so my unit fraction is 1/5. This is 1/5, this is 1/5, this is 1/5, and this is 1/5. Okay, so the whole thing represents that 1. We're going to make a number bond for the whole thing. So we just write a 1 for the whole thing. Okay, let's do how many parts are shaded. 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of the 5 pieces are shaded. Okay, I circle it. And how many are not shaded? 1, 2. So 2 out of 5 pieces are not shaded. So 3/5 plus 2/5 makes the whole thing, makes 5/5. 5/5 just means 1, the whole thing is there together. So they want us to draw a different way to do this. So just do a tape diagram. We know how to do tape diagrams, don't we? And it's 5 pieces, so I'm going to draw 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they colored in 3 parts here. So let's shade in 2 parts. 2/5 are shaded and 3/5 are not. So I represented it the same way. So let's try this one now. Okay, is this making sense? This one is all the same pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So this is 1/4. My unit is 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to take the whole thing. I'm going to write a 1 to represent the whole thing. And let's write how many parts are colored in. 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of 4 pieces, 3/4 is colored in. And what's not colored in? What is it? You're right, 1 out of the 4 pieces is not colored in, 1/4. So do you see that 3/4 plus 1/4 equals the whole thing, equals one whole shape? That's what we're doing. That's why we're decomposing this today. And again, I can just draw a tape diagram showing fourths. Or I could draw a square, rectangle, it's up to you. Okay, so this is divided into fourths. Now let's do the opposite of what they did. Let's do 1/4 is shaded in and 3/4 are not shaded in. Okay? Go ahead and try that and see how you do. Now, on the second part, it's going to ask you to do some story problems, and I will read those for you on Seesaw so that you know what to do. All right, good luck with these today.